One of the most important realizations we can have in this life is that so many of the limits we experience every day, they aren't actually external. They're internal. They are the quiet stories we formed in our minds after a particularly difficult season. They're the hard conclusions we drew about ourselves or about what's possible right after something didn't work out the way we planned. Often we treat these old conclusions like a permanent floor we can't walk beneath, rather than just a temporary ceiling we once hit.
And those beliefs can feel very real, not because they are true, but because we felt them more than once. But often they're based on a moment in time, not the whole journey. And that's important to remember, because the person you are today is not the same person you were when you first hit that wall. You've grown, you've learned, you've gained perspective that you didn't have back then.
That's exactly right. And what that means functionally is that the very opportunity that once felt impossible or out of reach, it might actually be sitting right in front of you now, waiting for you to notice it. But here is the real challenge we all face. If we never go back and test that old belief, if we never reach out to touch that boundary again, we never discover that the wall is actually gone. We end up living in a smaller room than we were designed for, simply because we're afraid of the glass that isn't even there anymore. We simply build our lives beside it, never realizing the path is wide open.
And sometimes that's where people begin to feel stuck, not because life isn't moving, but because something inside of them stopped trying. But growth often begins with something very simple, a decision to try again, to take one more step, not with pressure, but with presence, to approach something that once felt impossible with a little more courage and a little more compassion for ourselves.
Because on the other side of those invisible walls, that is where the life you've been hoping for actually exists. It's not a perfect life, and it's not a life without obstacles, but it is a life where you finally stop letting a past failure decide what your future is allowed to look like. It's the moment you realize that the cage was unlocked the entire time, and the only thing keeping you inside was the memory of the lock.
And if there's one thought we hope stays with you today, just one, it's this: just because something didn't work before doesn't mean the opportunity is gone. It may simply mean you've changed. You've grown into someone who can now meet that moment differently, because sometimes the glass has already been removed.
The question we want to leave you with is simply this: are you willing to try one more time?